Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the show. Marijuana Man here for another episode of From Under the Influence. And luckily, Mr. Cookie's joining us today. Hello, Mr. Cookie.
Hello, Greg. Hello, everyone out there. Hope everyone's having a stony day today.
Mr. Cookie's there in the shed. He's just out the back here of the house in the shed.
Social distancing and everything. We don't want to be too close to each other, so.
Yes, the fucking social distancing. Quite a bit of it going on now. Everybody's locking everything down. It's crazy confusing. That's all I know. Like, I'm not stupid, but you see one report saying that virus is real and look out and all this other shit, and then another completely saying the opposite. And you go, I don't know what to believe anymore.
Same, yeah. I don't like to follow rules at all, so I'm always trying to break the rules and bend the rules. And here I don't know if I'm breaking or bending or if just obeying. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
I like to wear my mask into the bank. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, it's just such a phenomenon of what, I don't know, even what the potential is here. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me for this to be some sort of conspiracy pre-planned as opposed to something that, well, I don't know, something they found they could take advantage of. And by they, I mean the government to do stuff. But I don't know. It seems all too complicated for the potential of a government to even be able to do something like this. But I don't know. Oh, what the fuck?
I think it's part of the mask industry. They weren't selling enough masks, so now they're like, okay, a mask is a new fashion. We have all these little pieces of material from elbows. We need it for masks now. So they're just like, you gotta start a little pandemic. Get these masks out there, fancy masks.
Yeah. How are we gonna sell all these masks that we have? Now, I don't like to belittle anything because I don't know fuck all, quite frankly, and few people do, other than what they might glean from the internet that suits their point of view. Right? So to say it's fake, I couldn't. To say it's real, I couldn't, because I'm confused. I'll admit that I don't know. But it seems very unusual. What the fuck's going on here? Apparently, this is affecting, well, 99.3% of all people are not infected. They're not infected. So, what in the fuck are you tracking here? Are you just tracking this new strain of common flu?
Well, and they like the lockdown, they're like, oh, we gotta lock everything down, lock it down. Like Amsterdam's in a 28-day lockdown right now or whatever, back to kind of reduced hours. I think the coffee shop hours are like, I don't know, in the morning till 8 p.m. now, when they're allowed to be open again till like, I think 1 o'clock or whatever, but only for takeaway sort of thing. And they had a little bit of time when you could smoke in the coffee shop, but they sort of had it like reduced numbers, of course.
Still get weed. That's the
now you can
most
still
important thing.
Until it's 8 p.m., so that's not the best. But
yeah, it affects everyone now. Everybody talks about the new world order, the new reset, they keep calling it. And you go, well, reset to what? Really? The rich have got all the fucking money already, and the poor keep getting poorer and more of them. What could the plan now possibly be? No, we want all the money. We must have all the money. And
Yeah,
what?
they don't have anyone with money. They're like, no, no, you guys don't need money out there.
Is it merely an exercise of how much they could control us? Maybe it's that. An opportunity has arisen. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very unusual to me. Health perspective. I'm not getting the kind of information that I need here, given that they're calling this a fucking pandemic and locking the place down. I kind of like to know what the fuck's going on here. Now, if the people are dying, I mean, there's no denying that. I'd kind of like to know where the fuck are all these people dying? I'm being led to understand that it's in long-term care facilities with old people with previous complications. This is what I'm hearing. Affecting, no, not affecting 99.3% of the population. So if it was me, I don't know. I think I would be, doing everything I could for extended care facilities and the like right now, that being my top priority. If you must lock something down, lock that down.
Lock them down. Yeah. I think they're still locked down. I don't think they ever got out. They just locked down the old care facilities. Like, no, no people in, no people out.
Now, I'm also very surprised that given the number of times you've seen somebody say, what about the common flu? Right? It's responsible for quite a number of deaths each year in that same fucking group of people. Yet, I see no statistical information about the common flu whatsoever. I don't see anything about it. You would think, given that some people said that in the beginning or whenever, that they would respond by saying, okay, here's what the common flu is doing. Here's what COVID's doing, because this COVID is real. You'd think, but nothing. There's no reporting about that at all. At least I haven't. I'm looking, but just generally haven't seen it. See, I find
a comparison somewhere, just like that, exactly like that.
But nothing. I get nothing like that. I just get how many people are infected with this common cold. Right? It's that possible, I think, for it to be that. Becoming, as the population does, some people get the flu. And some people with other complications, unfortunately, die from it. So, what in the actual fuck is going on here? So I don't know. We'll have to see how this progresses. But they're fucking locking everything down across Canada.
They canceled Christmas. They canceled Christmas. Santa, he's at this workshop going like, okay, elves, stop making toys. We ain't delivering this year.
Well, is this some sort of plan? What is the plan here? To see how much we'll take before people say, hey, we're going to fucking burn down your stupid parliament buildings? Not that I would do that, but people might
And we'll
say
grow
that.
6 feet apart.
Yeah. Which apparently now has become 2 meters.
It's
6
always
feet,
been 2
2
meters. They
meters.
call that 6 feet or whatever.
Yeah, but it's not. It's funny how nobody, what is it, 6 feet or 2 meters you're supposed to be apart? And what's the distinction here? You put it on the sign. Everybody has it on the sign, 6 feet, 2 meters. How many feet is in 2 meters?
Going to be 6. That's how they're going to change it. That's why what they did.
Is this the new reset?
That's like when metric and the non-metric came out.
I think
They're
that was called imperial.
imperial. That's what it is. That's probably exactly what they did. They're just like 14 mil.
Gonna cost you more.
Or it's a half inch or whatever.
Yeah. We'll give you a liter. It's gonna be a liter now, not a gallon, not a half a gallon, not a pint. Well, I have this cannabis.
Huh. I have this cannabis here. It is Corral Kush. I'm not sure if it's like a horse corral or corral under the sea. And it comes from the Vancouver dispensary. So that all rhymes for me.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's called a corral under the sea. It's a coral.
Oh yeah, coral. And then someone told me that the other coral, like a horse corral,
Huh?
is not spelt that way.
No?
They said it was with a C, and this was with a K. So,
Well, yeah.
but I said it's a weed name, so that doesn't mean anything. I seen a strawberries with a Z at the end. Strawberries.
Huh. Well, so they couldn't be sued for calling them strawberries, I guess.
Yeah, or strawberries.
It just
Off, I think it was.
didn't say it was strawberries. Well, that bud was super lemon haze.
Made popular by the folks at Greenhouse. Skunk #1 and that lemon one.
Yes. Although it's hard to know. Pretty dense bud for a super lemon haze, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know how that all plays into it rather than something that may well have a lemony flavor, but ain't super lemon haze.
It ain't super hazy though.
No, not. That's the difference. So I don't know. The breeding goes on to the next multiple levels of hybridization of cannabis. Just carries on and on and on and on and on because that's what you can do with the plant. You can take the latest, greatest and cross it with the second latest, greatest and create the new latest, greatest.
With the not so greatest too.
Yeah, depending on what you like, I guess. It's always something new, right? Cannabis consumers have always strived, not always, but tended to strive a lot for variety. I knew tons of people that grew weed, and each time they would like to either introduce something new or try something new altogether. So kind of tough to dial it all in always, but
Oh, and this one is also called Pink Kush, they told me. That's why it has all these names, but
yeah, and they do.
it didn't have one shade of pink on it. I looked everywhere. More green than anything. I would have called it green.
Well, I get this weed from the stock market down here in Kitsilano,
Nice.
run by our good friend Vicky, and selling lots of weed to the general public. But, you know, because of COVID and all this other stuff, it's just kind of knock on the door, somebody let you in, and one at a time kind of thing. So wear a mask.
That's better.
So come on down and get great weed all day long. But I've been mixing this super lemon haze with something called blue.
And probably wasn't even blue at all.
Not a bit.
Green.
No, I don't know if I've got any. I don't have any left, maybe, but tremendous flavor. Holy fuck, it was very fruity and rich. So it was nice to mix in with damn near anything.
That's what I do with the cheese, the real cheese, like the Big Buddhist cheese or the Exodus cheese, that one. I mix it in with everything because it gives me that cheese flavor in it. And you only need like just a smidge. It's like,
Yeah, but just a few grains of the cheese.
you're like, okay, I got her in. And like, just shout out to Tuck Tape. They finally made a blue Tuck Tape. Everyone's familiar with the red Tuck Tape. I'm only down with the blue now.
Huh, nice. A shout out to Tuck Tape.
Tuck Tape.
I'm sure they'll hear that. Oh, did you see that guy on From Under the Influence? Mr. Cookie was giving you a shout out.
They shouted out the blue Tuck Tape. They're like, we knew it would be good. We knew it.
Well, maybe they're doing searches right now, trying to find anyone making a reference to their product. Who wouldn't? Why not?
Yeah, when it sticks like that Tuck Tape does, you'd be searching all over.
That's right. Miles of it have been used. So yeah, we continue to tout the newest and the greatest strains that come along, and everybody wants to try them. That's the thing about cannabis, is we've always wanted to try cannabis. Right? Tippy walking around in the background there.
He must have realized the camera was on and then he peeled.
Yeah. No. It's all about the food. I get it. So yeah, it's interesting how, well, the hybridization is governed by many different things here in our world, and it's kind of more geared to an indica kind of fucking product at the end of the day. I think if anybody's doing anything in breeding, it is trying to bring the flavors of the sativa to that indica. And maybe have been fairly successful in doing that. It may be a thing that is transferable in a hybrid to show up. I guess people would call that a terpene profile now. but
Yeah.
parts of the terpenes, the lemony flavor or whatever coming in from the haze side of life might.
Or as I like to refer to it in the old school method, I think it smells good.
Yeah, well, I like the smell of that. But so I'm not too sure if we've been tricked over the years in thinking that because the flavor of that sativa came to the offspring of hybrid, that it is in fact having anything to do with sativa.
Well, that's funny you say that because I always think that the Dutch was more into the creation of those specific hybrids, and that comes from the coffee shop market, of course, because they needed, have a different thing than the guy down the street, obviously. But also in the Netherlands, when the coffee shops or places like that buy weed, I heard they pay by the number of weeks flowered as opposed to what you tell them it is. You know what I mean, kind of thing. So they can tell you like that 16-week haze. It's been flowered for 16 weeks, so you're gonna get a higher dollar. But I think if you could come in with that super lemon haze, that might only be like an 8 or 9 week plant and say, hey, check it out, 12 or 13 week price, maybe. I don't honestly know, but
Yeah. Well, yeah. And it didn't really fit the profile of our clandestine gardens, really. The endeavor long ago became producing as much as you could as quickly as possible. So, with complete control of an indoor environment, you have some control over how quickly that can happen. So, the endeavor would then be if you were going to make a hybrid that would sell to a marketplace, you would want one that would kind of fit that criteria. And your own room, because you were doing it clandestine too. Even though you're a big time seed producer out there in the world, you were still doing it in the black market and could be raided and busted at any moment. So, yeah, those circumstances kind of got rid of the long flowering sativa potential for us to grow, but I don't know. We have certainly learned how to use the indoor environment to its pretty good potential. We refined it over the years, some years. We've well too refined it. But so sativas coming back into the market would be a wonderful thing. But still the marketplace is driven by give as much as quickly as you can. The potential exists to get it quickly, right? Because of prohibition, more than anything. I want this as quickly as possible. And so the legal market would then adopt that principle of it, the potential of selling marijuana that is flowered for 6 weeks exists in the black market, or 7 or 8. And 8, oh, you start calling it a sativa then.
yeah, they're like, oh, it went 9 weeks.
Yeah.
You're like, so it's like a kush? They're like, no, haze.
Yeah, long flowering. So they're going to certainly shy away from that. They shouldn't. It's spectacular and exciting cannabis to grow and to harvest, for God's sakes. But the size of the places that I see these people growing in, look at the tiny amount of fucking vertical space they have taken. Big giant high ceilings and as many fucking lights as you can fit into the ceiling. Nothing wrong with that. But so they don't care. There's enough light to penetrate down that far to grow these plants down on the fucking floor. But don't grow them too big. They don't grow them too big. They don't grow them any bigger than you and I did in any fucking room. Really? Right? They don't. They're not big growing giant fucking plants here.
Yeah,
And
because
so,
enormous plants if they were allowed to. Like
huh?
they don't realize you can grow it real tall, and if the light's penetrating everywhere, well, you're gonna have lots of flower on it, so that's a bonus.
Well, you would think sativa, even though it's growing over there in that fucking section, 14 feet tall, who cares? You've got the space, you're not using it. What do you care? You get fucking enormous amounts of cannabis off that plant at the end of the day. We had a friend who lived in Mallorca, that fucking one of those islands off of Spain, and had a haze, pure haze plant growing outside her house, taller than the fucking house. That they got 10 kilos
of nice bud too.
of. Oh, yeah. I also saw pictures of fields of those kind of fucking plants. They grow, can, and would like to grow enormous and get way more off of them. I'm not too sure what the math is.
Well, the bottom growth's always related to top growth, so it's like crazy. I got the friends up in Colorado and that's what they were saying. They're allowed. I want to say they're allowed 20 or 25 in their yard or some shit. And like, my one buddy was like, "Oh, right on, man. I got like 42 pounds, or I forget what it was, 50 pounds, we'll say." And I was like, "Holy shit, hey, that's pretty good." He's like, "Our neighbor got like, I think he got like, yeah, like 10 pounds of plants or some shit. So whatever the fuck it was, like 200 pounds." I was like, "What?" And
Yeah.
then like extracts and shit out of it. So it's like clean, good extract stuff. I was just like, it's like you guys are living in a dream. But yeah, he showed me a picture of it, and yeah, they were just like massive plants, you know. But
So I wouldn't necessarily like, I'd rather see cannabis prices fall to realistic here fairly soon somehow. But that doesn't seem to be happening. But even still, you would think that the producers would have figured out that sativas are a marketplace untapped.
12, 16 weeks, we don't
None
know.
of you are fucking even trying. You got the space. They're selling off greenhouses for bargain basement prices here across Canada now. All these LPs who never used them or needed them, only needed them to raise money. I think it seems.
It's like having like a genetic stock or whatever. We got all this room. We can produce this much, you know? We can produce this much. We got a million square feet, you know? It's 1,000,000 pounds or whatever. I don't know what the number is, you know? But like,
Yeah, they use a calculator and figure out how much they can
so like
grow
1,000,000
and
square feet
sell.
times whatever.
Yeah,
Oh, my calculator's broken. The number's so high.
never showing once that they actually could ever do that.
They got like one shitty
They
guy.
have no track record, right? I don't know. They think that branding is something in this industry when at this point it's not. It doesn't make a difference, really.
No, it's gonna be whoever has good weed in their fucking container, and whoever finds it and then realizes like, wow, every time I buy this kind, it's always pretty good, you know, and that's the only thing that's gonna like help the companies out. They can brand all they fucking want, like, you know, unless they're in the parking lot giving away free grams, or have really good weed
They're
just
not,
at a
not
normal
they're
price.
not allowed to brand.
Or yeah, or advertise or whatever. So
No, it's just it's become it's very repressive form of legalization. I say here in Vancouver, the mayor is in the news again. I don't know why he's in the news again. Is it something new that he said, or was this from fucking along some time ago about decriminalizing small amounts of drugs? And I'm not too sure what he means by drugs, but they're calling for the
all amount.
decriminalization of drugs. And I say, well, how about cannabis? Are you talking about cannabis in any way here? That you're gonna, are you still gonna bust people for having cannabis, illegal cannabis across the land?
Probably, but you can have a little bit of heroin or cocaine or whatever, meth maybe. I don't know what ones they're gonna do, but don't have like
Huh.
any illicit cannabis, but have a little bit of those other drugs, and that's okay.
So it would seem to me, given the danger level of the drugs that they're talking about here, it would be better if they hadn't legalized cannabis, but decriminalized it. So I'm calling now for the decriminalization of cannabis. So, okay, you've legalized it, let's decriminalize it. Is that the word that we're missing?
I think so. I think they left it out on purpose because they knew they're like decriminal. That means not charging no more, no more fining.
I don't rightly know what it means to decriminalize. It's no longer a criminal thing to possess small amounts of said drugs. That's what they're saying, I guess. So that isn't going to do anything. That is just fucking yipping politicians. When we blah 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 decriminalize. So what if you decriminalize the drugs? It is the tainted drugs that are killing people. Tainted drugs. So the user of those drugs doesn't care that it's criminal today or tomorrow. Do they care? No. They have drugs in their pocket. Gonna go do them. And they're tainted and dangerous. So decriminalize it doesn't make any fucking difference. What does that mean? A cop will stop these people doing something, whatever they're doing, search them, find those same tainted fucking drugs, and give them back to them? That's what they do now because it's decriminalized? It's
Be like,
insane.
oh, there's not enough for a charge here. Here you go, bro.
And you can die from this tonight. So the solution to this problem is not decriminalizing, destigmatizing the user of drugs. Well, that helps for sure, but it's not number one step. It's not the first step forward. It's the third, I think. First step forward is to provide drugs that aren't going to kill these fucking people. Come on. What's wrong with you? It has worked around the world, different places when they've done that. You work out the details. Is it too hard to save people's lives? Oh, we can't give them. What the fuck? You'll let these people die.
Yeah, like I'm sure you could go to one of these big pharmaceutical companies, whichever ones produce these drugs, and be like, hey, you want to sponsor this thing? We can be like, oh, all our heroin that we give to everyone is sponsored by Pfizer, whatever the fucking drug guy is. You know what I mean? Like, who cares?
No,
You know,
it
it's their,
would be said this heroin is provided by Bayer because they were convicted of having some responsibility in having created this substance for people to get addicted to. And we're probably part and parcel of it becoming illegal to have after they produced it and figured out how to make it. So, nevertheless, the heroin should then be provided by them as a fucking penalty. And if you want to do business in this province, fucking cough it up. You go get us clean heroin, clean cocaine for these fucking people. And let them get free of this necessity to obtain these substances. You're heavily addicted to these kind of drugs. You spend all day wondering and planning and figuring out how the fuck you're going to get these drugs. How you're going to pay for them. That's it. That's all. Main thing, first thing. So they've certainly found in many programs that if you were to offer these people who are addicted to these substances, the substances, and that won't kill them, they don't have to think about where they're going to get their next hit. And they begin to think about other things like, hey, I've got a family, job, because I don't have to worry about where I'm getting my fix from. It works. Simple. But no, this isn't what they're yipping about. They're just going, well, we're going to expand Section 56 or whatever gives them their edict to allow Insight to operate. Insight is a safe injection center. So they're just going to expand this program to declare, I guess, that these drugs are now, and there'll have to be a list too, a list of what drugs will be now considered decriminalized in our world. So, I don't know. It doesn't make much sense to me to skirt the issue. And they're still, throwing it out there to the federal government to do something who aren't going to. They've already said they aren't going to. I don't know. It's worth too much money to somebody, all this shit. So, it's all it can be. All comes down to money. But holy cow. The VPD, Vancouver Police Department, upon the city councilors saying, hey, we want to roll back your funding. They said, no. They're like, no, you're not going to do that. Instead, they went and created some sort of police force that's currently down in the poorest neighborhoods in the city, most drug addicted, just fucking smashing around on people. So they actually took down Neil Magnuson's van. Neil set up his cannabis edibles giveaway, and they of course had trouble with the landlord and had to vacate the store that they were in, and now they were, and these guys don't give up. You got to give it to them for sure. They don't stop.
Yeah, they're in an RV. I seen that.
Yeah. They just set up out front in their RV and did exactly the same thing anyway. Until they came by, the cops came by and took everything that they had out of the RV, all the weed and shit. This new police unit or whatever.
The G unit.
Not hurting anybody, really. Not ever having hurt anyone. No consequence to having provided that service in any way that it was provided. There's no downside to any of this. So why the fuck does anybody care? Right? Why do you fucking care about this so much? It's insane. So I don't know. Cannabis has unfortunately been made this very, very complex plant. Holy fuck. It is so much.
A lot of moving parts is what I like to say about it. A lot of moving parts.
And a lot of business potential, and on and on and on it goes. And it's just insane how it's all for the newbie. It's all for people who have never consumed cannabis. And I don't know how many people know anything about cannabis. We live certainly in a world where we have looked at cannabis fairly closely. And I'm not too sure it's the same in all other people's lives out there. We're lucky enough to have quite a bit of choice in our cannabis, and long have had that choice. So quite frankly, I haven't seen all that much horrendous cannabis for sale. You might run into some mold here and there, but unnoticed. It's not noticed, so you start breaking up the fucking bag and go, or a bud, and went, so on the outside look fine. But don't see that very often either, or it doesn't ever come back, right? The provider doesn't bring it back. So yeah, it's funny as I read news about cannabis in the new cannabis world. They don't ever mention the consumer. It's very unusual. The consumer does not play a role in any of this. It's a given that it's worth this much without considering the consumer. And the consumer overwhelmingly has shown that they don't want to shop there. Fairly satisfied with what they got going now. I don't know. I read an article about Ontario. They're claiming that 76% of those surveyed are still buying in Ontario.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So it's an industry squabbling over 25% of the marketplace at the moment, separated completely by price
and quality.
Well, yeah, quality. It's sad too about this plant and its consumption that we had to do it for so long under such adverse conditions, that being prohibition, forcing us to buy cannabis that was no fucking good because we had no choice for a very long time. Right? There weren't many people around selling the weeds. So choice was not very much, if any. Here's what I got this time. Okay, I'll buy it. So we are a marketplace that, interesting, we are a marketplace that is more prone to accepting less than the best. And we've lived our whole lives paying this high prohibition price. So we're all wired into. See, the new industry didn't mind taking that from the black, right? This idea that anything will sell. And there's levels of quality. There's no levels of quality. What the fuck? That is so black market. To have any value, what they call value weed, compared to what they're calling premium. You go, what? Where the fuck did you get that from?
Yeah, the only difference should be the price. It should be, here's weed that's done like weed. Here's weed to consume, and then there's either value because it's cheaper, or premium because you're gonna pay a little more. But guess what? It's pretty much the same quality. There's no difference. It's good weed.
That is what it really comes down to. And you would have to think that a fledgling industry, weed at any price would be really good. You would think, wouldn't you? What do you? Well, there's a chocolate bar, our value chocolate
Oh, it tastes crap.
bar. Not as good, but it's cheaper. No one does that. Here's our value bananas. Maybe day old bread, yesterday's bread. But value?
Yeah, like I buy the value relish, and I don't buy the Bix relish. And I'm pretty happy with the value relish. I can't say that I'm like, oh, this is not Bix.
It's
I
not
do say it, but I'm just the guy that would say it anyway. But
yeah, I don't know. The value brands. So they completely took that right out of prohibition and have exploited that notion to their own devices. The starting point of the value brand doesn't compete with the black market. Right? They've found some alarm has gone off. Ding, ding. So, yeah. What was I saying? I know. Oh, he's falling asleep. He's here though. He's made this possible today. Oh yeah, I should be smoking a joint.
where's my joint? Oh, I fell.
Yeah, today it's cold and wet here in Vancouver. Not all that cold. 12, 10, something like that. So well above the freezing mark.
See, that's what it is.
A lot of snow across the land.
See, we're
Fairly
at
early.
-4 with snow showers right now.
What's that?
We're at -4 with snow showers.
Snow showers. Ooh, those are the worst kind of snows.
Yeah, like, oof.
Worst kind of showers too, actually, when you think about it.
I'm never going in the shower thinking, oh, I hope this is a snow shower.
Oh, it's just a shower of wet snow.
Yeah, sleet, I call that.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is now. It's winter time. Although we're supposed to go up to like 10 degrees on Friday, so I don't know.
Huh. Well,
I'll take it.
Yeah. Get some golfing in.
Yeah, you know what I say, sun's out, club's out.
Yeah, well, why not?
Or I'll keep taking a whack at her anyway.
One more little reefer, eh? Never hurt anybody.
No.
So I saw a pretty good article as to why the Ontario government should get out of the cannabis business altogether. Made some, I can't remember what it was called, but that was the gist of the statement.
I think it was called Ontario government. Why you be the middleman?
Yeah, why are you getting in the way of us cannabis consumers? So I think sooner than later, they keep recording tremendous losses of taxpayer dollars. And they're not making money. The entity themselves, Ontario Cannabis fucking succubuses or whatever they're called. So they're not, it's coming into question here as to, they're also now talking about having to tighten up the belt because of COVID or whatever. And so the reasoning of this article was that's a good place to start. Get the fuck out of the cannabis business. Let the producers of the cannabis sell to the retailers. And let's fucking go. If your mandate is to eradicate the black market, which you're never going to fucking do, not in a million years. Sorry, you created it. You made us come up with all this stuff, hidden from you, still hidden from you, for fuck's sake, shut up. Seeds are all hidden, fucking everything's hidden. You guys hide it all. So it's still going on, and you couldn't find it before, you can't find it now. So shut the fuck up. Do you think if 76% of all people are still buying from the black market, that you think that's going to go away soon? You didn't even know it was there. I'm not too sure how they figured this shit out.
Yeah, I don't understand those black market surveys. Like, I know when people call me up and they're asking me if I'm buying black market weed and black market this and black market that, I'm usually saying no. No, I'm not. No, I don't even know what that is. Black market, is that like Black Angus? You grill that stuff, you know?
Have you ever been
Just a
contacted
racist
like
thing?
that?
What are you guys talking about? No, but that's what I mean. How do they? Is it like they're just waiting around like a drug house, like an illegal drug house? So like, was that illegal drugs you just bought? You do that often?
Yeah, quite remarkable actually, them trying to estimate all this, but it was one of the highest numbers that I read about the comparison. I don't know, there was some claim that they were getting really close to competing with the black market. And the only thing that they actually cared to what compete with is the price. They just want to be like 1 cent cheaper than the black market is now. The tremendous success.
So like we're below the black market. It was $10 a gram. We have it right here, $9.99. You're like, well, come on now. They're like plus tax. You're like, so now you're over the $10. So like, before tax, we're above the black market.
Yeah, I guess, eh? Is that how that works? You figure it's before tax they're talking to?
Oh, guaranteed. They'd never tell you the after tax price.
Tax, sad. It should be challenged somehow. Really? Like, I don't mind paying tax in the world for stuff. It's costing us money. You try to recoup some of that at least, not that you would administer it well enough to fucking do anything with it. But to justify a tax on this substance that doesn't hurt anyone, it needs to be challenged. How do you do that? How do my rights not become infringed here because you have taken this position?
They cried it out first. They're like, my rights would be infringed if someone else does this. So once you call it out first, the other guy can't, I think.
What do you got, a snowball?
Yeah, no golf ball. Frosty's up in her.
Yeah, it's raining pretty hard outside, I'm pretty sure now.
Here it's snow raining very hard.
So if you could get rid of the middleman, all the government's infiltration at very least, and allow producers to sell directly to the retailer, that in itself would create a mire of weaselness, wouldn't it? Just a mire of weaselness. But we've got to start relaxing this shit somewhere, somehow. What the fuck? See, any relaxation that's going to happen here in the future is going to be done so purely for the benefit of the industry that exists. It's going to be really tough to get them to let go of this tax. It'll get too entrenched too fast. It's too much. It's coming right out of our pockets. Fuck that. We are the ones being charged the tax, not the cannabis. Cannabis has nothing to do with me fucking fishing into my pocket for the cash.
The extra cash, yeah.
Thanks a lot, they should be saying to us cannabis consumers. Thanks for the fucking millions you're getting tossed into the coffers for no fucking apparent reason, only because you're a cannabis user. The only reason that you're having to pay this tax, people who don't buy cannabis ain't paying the tax. Just us. You go, what the fuck's that all about? Didn't I get a say in that? Whether or not I felt I should be taxed, or you should prove there's some reason why we should be taxed?
Well, I bet you the guy that's not paying the buying the weed, he was complaining that he didn't want to have to pay that tax.
Yeah. So even the price of cannabis needs to compete with the black market. If you want to get real about it, fucking get real. Let's see how cheap it can actually go. Make that your curve rather than, right? That's what should be in it for the cannabis consumer. So, but everybody wants and is pretty used to prohibition prices, unfortunately. And that's the measure. How much will you fucking accept? How much abuse will you accept because you want cannabis? Haven't we our whole lives put up with that? What the fuck? It's just become okay.
It's been tolerated now. They're like, oh, we got him going the tax. It's toleration now.
But
And
in
booze tax. tax. So they were just like, well, we're gonna legalize it. It's like a party thing. Oh, they'll pay the tax on it.
Well, I'm not too sure we're ever asked why they were imposing a tax on it at different levels of government to get their cut. You go, what? Why are you getting a cut? Why do you need a cut?
So like, no, we do that on everything. Don't worry.
Well, you get it on the fucking sales tax. Get it on the GST, for fuck's sake, like everything else. Couldn't have done that. No. Had to maintain that this needs to be taxed.
Extra tax, yeah.
And to justify that tax, they have to then pretend that cannabis is dangerous. And requires this kind of scrutiny and this level of punitive taxation. Right? Well, what else could it be? But again, nobody ever asks them to explain that. But I do believe that that fucking is against my constitutional rights. I don't believe that they should be able to come up with this nonsense of harm and potential harm to justify that I be taxed outside of all other fucking citizens because I've chosen cannabis. It's unusual, eh? But that's how I see it. From the cannabis consumer's point of view. And aren't those the dollars they're licking their lips about? All of the dollars that I'm going to fishbowl in my pocket to pull out is what they want, plus a tax at a price just a little bit less than they estimated the street prices. So, unusual way to run your fucking industry. Ooh, a couple of water bottles.
A frozen water bottle and a non-frozen water bottle.
Huh? One for now, one for later.
Wow, one was supposed to be now, but this frozen one's not going to be. There's like more. It's kind of like the government, you know? There's more ice than water, so you only get a little sip every once in a while where you can really slam down on the non-frozen, the untaxed water.
You got to put up with the giant ice block that they put up in front of you.
Yeah, just like block.
So I don't know the trickle down economics of it all. People are still buying weed at the government shops, generally because they don't have a choice. I don't know. A lot of the East, I think, doesn't Nova Scotia take over all their fucking shops?
Yeah.
Just government shops. Quebec's the same way. Ontario's got lots of shops and have taken over online sales, monopolized that. Even though these are things that Doug Ford said when he was running for election, that he was against that kind of government intervention, get the fuck away from me kind of attitude he had, but did that exact same thing with cannabis. And it sucks that they did it only because they could. They had the opportunity to, just that one time. And they went, wow, we'll fucking grab this. Grr, from my point of view, you go, what the fuck? I just want cannabis. Can't somebody figure out a fucking way for me to just have cannabis? For us to have cannabis? People who want cannabis to have cannabis? Fuck off with all this
It's not an
shit.
easy. It's not an easy path, they say. It's true, and like the Ontario government site here, they made it. I don't know if it's like that's on all products, but there was a couple products that I had ordered before from there, edibles, we'll say, for my dad just to try, and they were like really cheap. So then we were going golfing with a bunch of friends, so we wanted to get the edible chocolates for them and just give them to them like chocolate bars and not tell them. So we would win. And we went to the store and they were like, say I paid $5 a chocolate bar or whatever online, they were like $10 in the store. I was like, what? Like,
No, it's a scam.
yeah, we didn't buy them in the store. We said, screw it. We'll just smoke them a bunch of weed and that'll be good enough.
So eventually that will happen, producer to retailer, but the unfortunate collusions that would take place upon. See, the thing about cannabis too now is every change in the regulation opens up a giant fucking trough of money, right? The potential within that fucking relaxation is worth millions now. And those who have lots of money to spend would go shopping for any relaxed fucking rule there was. So, and producers, micro producers now are required to sell their product to a large producer, a middleman, if you will, to then sell to the fucking middleweight man of the government. How that works. So if you got a micro grow, you still got to sell it to an LP who gets their cut, who gets their cut, who gets their cut. We don't need any of these fucking cuts at all. Why wouldn't the micro producer be able to sell it to the fucking government in the first place? What do you need? Why? Who made that deal? Oh, the LPs went, oh, whimper, you can't have micro producers. How are we going to make any money? We can't compete with them. Oh, okay, they have to sell to us? Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, that works. Hey,
Yeah, we'll do that.
there.
And then we sell to you. Oh, okay. Huh. But what about the consumer? And they go, whoa, shut up. No one ever talks about them. Doesn't matter. Consumer.
They'll pay it. They'll pay it. Don't worry. They'll
Yeah.
pay it.
We're never going to grow it anyway. So yeah, I don't know. Wherever you are watching the show today, I do appreciate you tuning in. And there's some little window slid over there with the chat, with the chat info. The teeniest little letters on the screen.
I've seen
Thanks
that.
for the tiny chat that was going on out there all day long too. The
Like the mice are chattering or something.
but like I say, wherever you are, I hope it's not too locked down for you, and things don't get too out of control here with this stuff. Come on. But we'll have to see how it all goes. But good to see Mr. Cookie as always.
Good to see you. Good to see all the audience.
And thanks to Anil for flipping the dials. It's not that easy to flip dials, so Nobody knows what he does. But yeah, glad you were here and glad to be here myself. Thanks for checking out all the stuff here on Pot TV. And keep your heads down and your weed safe. Hope you get a chance to smoke great weed along the way. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, peace.